We're in the last few days of 2024, barreling into 2025. And if, like me, you're determined to make 2025 your best financial year yet, I'm sure you're already thinking about how you're going to do that. So it got me thinking, what would get me the best return on investment by the end of the year in 2025? Where would be the best place to invest that would make the biggest impact on my financial life for years to come? What I came up with may surprise you, and it's relevant to the younger generation and older guys like me and beyond. But before we get to that, I want to touch on the other investments that have made a big financial difference to my life. Remember, I only started investing 4 years ago, so this was all new to me. Since moving to Canada 17 years ago, we've moved house 3 times, and we're about to move for the 4th time. We generally look for the worst house on the best street. We spend a couple of years renovating, and then we capitalise on our gains. If done properly and on a budget, we can force appreciate the value of the home almost 100%. In general, we sell the house at almost double the price that we purchased at, and because I do the renovations myself, I'm able to capitalise on my high earning skills. I look at them as a long-term flip, done over 4 to 5 years. There's no capital gains, and I can do the work in my spare time as I'm running my renovation business in my full time. Doing this has allowed us to become millionaires. We're able to create equity and use that to make more equity. Now this has taken many years, and with the first property we had to put down a substantial deposit to get rolling. It's a long-term play with a big upfront investment, and it's reliant on some high-value skills to do the renovations. And these renovation skills have been developed and honed over years, an investment in itself. And each time we purchase a new house, that equity is moved to the new property. Now we can't draw down on that equity without the mortgage going up. That's a bit of a drawback. But in most cases, most people are paying down the mortgage to become mortgage free. However, if you're looking to get into real estate, like rental units, you can use a portion of that equity to purchase an investment property, and we'll go into that next. We have several investment properties in our growing portfolio, and that forms the main part of our wealth building strategy. We purchase rundown properties, or single family homes that can be converted into multifamilies. By adding significant value to the properties with renovations, we can refinance with the bank once we've completed the transformation and use the refinance funds to pay for the renos. We even use the refinancing funds to cover the purchase price. Essentially, if done correctly, you can get a piece of real estate that you can rent out for $0. And once you've successfully completed one, you simply rinse and repeat and build a portfolio that can fund a lifestyle. Now this too is reliant on a number of factors, including having high value skills to do the renovations and contacts such as investors and realtors. It could also mean long days and long weekends if you're prepared to put in the sweat equity. But like everything, you can start small and scale and lessen the risk. This is a strategy that we absolutely love. It plays to our strengths, but it does take time and it takes commitment, like everything else. Thanks so much for watching today. I appreciate you. If you find some value to today's video, perhaps give me a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you part of the community. Right now, back to the video. Investing in the stock market for us is essentially plan B, but I would say for most people it's their plan A, their main investment portfolio. Now we keep it simple, but consistent. We dollar cost average into our favorite ETFs every month with a direct deposit. I also hold shares in a few companies as a long-term play. These are companies that I believe in and happy to hold for a long term as they grow and expand. One of them is Tesla, and although it's a volatile stock, I believe that company will do great things in years to come. After all, Elon Musk is going to Mars. Now, like most investment plans, this is going to be a long-term play. We have a set and forget strategy, and in all honesty, we don't check our portfolios all that often. We don't do buy and sell, we don't trade, and we're not really interested in expanding into closed calls or other call options. But that's not to say it's not worth looking into. Some YouTubers I follow make a lot of money with this strategy. It's just not my skill set and it holds no interest to me. I'm all about the renovations. But I do believe investing wisely into the stock market is a good option for everybody, and it could be key for your long-term financial health. After all, it has a proven track record of 100 years. It's a fantastic and simple way to build wealth. And in terms of average returns, you should be looking at 8 to 10% over time. And as anybody would tell you, that's far better returns than leaving it in a savings account or under your mattress. Now, as I mentioned before, when I moved to Canada, I started a renovation business, which we still operate today. Now, as an immigrant, I found it easy to start. I had nothing to lose. Working for a day for $50 put cash in my pocket. I started with nothing and no clients, but I was determined to succeed. Every time I did a project, I bought a new tool and I expanded my client base. That was 17 years ago. These days you can build a business online, faster and quicker than ever before. With the internet, businesses and people can be reached around the world, and e-commerce will eventually become the dominant source of sales. And for you, you can get in, get established, and be part of that success. Build and scale a business in a growing industry. You could do programming or coding, copywriting or sales. Investing in a business is an excellent way of getting ahead, and it gives you a real advantage on taxes and expenses. The key thing here is to find something you can make a lot of money on. Remember, sometimes what you love to do will not give you the best return. My advice is try and earn the most income. And at that point, being financially retired, you can do exactly what you want all the time. Something to think about. Okay, disclaimer, I don't invest directly into cryptocurrency as I don't have much interest in learning about it, but I do invest into a Bitcoin ETF. That's pretty much where my interest stops, as I spend most of my time working on my real estate portfolio. But cryptocurrency is huge, and the market share is growing. And with President-elect Trump taking over the White House in just 2 weeks' time, he has indicated he's going to make it even bigger. And for the younger generation investors in particular, this seems to be at least one large part of the future. But like other investment strategies we've discussed, there's a monetary contribution upfront and a long-term outlook that's needed. And similar to investing on the stock market, there could be a lot of ways around to see a return. So perhaps it's better to set and forget strategy and invest over time. Now, perhaps more than the stock market, cryptocurrency is volatile by its very nature. So this, of course, means greater risk. So if cryptocurrency is a play for you in 2025, get educated and get informed. Big swings can mean big risks. But like all portfolio investments, having diversification can minimize those risks. So these are probably the most common investment strategies that many people will look into and invest into over time. And over the course of my research, it seems most investors are invested into 2 or 3 of those. Diversification. I certainly have, and I will continue that into the future. But there's one unifying trait with all these investment strategies, and that is time. It is likely you're going to need to invest consistently, small or large, over a period of time to see the returns that you will need. And that all comes down to compound interest, the mechanism that we use to grow wealth. These strategies will use years, even decades, to produce the returns that you will need for your lifestyle. But you could develop an income to cover your lifestyle in a much shorter space of time. For example, if you spent a year starting and growing an online content business, how far do you think you could get? Let's say you start from scratch with no skills in making a video and even concerned about putting your face out there. Perhaps you're not sure what kind of content you'd want to create. So in that year, you can learn on how to create content and upload, how to maximize your viewership, and even what kind of niche you'd want to go into. Give yourself a year. And how far do you think you could develop yourself? Develop your mindset into one of growing and learning and achieve something new. Challenge yourself for 1 year and develop an asset, perhaps something you could develop into a business. So what are some of the pros to this investment? There's very little startup costs or running costs. There's a potential client base of 5 billion people online around the world that you could reach out to, and all the skills you need you can learn on your way. In my humble opinion, there's very little risk. But what are the cons? Perhaps like me, you're going to have to learn how to use a camera, how to edit and how to upload. You'll definitely have to spend some time in the evenings and maybe even the weekends in producing the material. And you may be concerned about friends and family seeing you online and have the challenge of dealing with that. Now these could be valid concerns and something to consider. But considering this new venture could really be something for you in just 1 year, is it not worth trying? Because it begs the question, if you could develop something in 1 year, what could it be in just 2 years? In the same time as doing a university degree, coming out perhaps tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, where could you take an online business and could you create a life-changing amount of income? The simple and obvious answer is, of course you can. Now, I'm not saying don't go to university. Education is very important. In fact, from my viewer stats, I can see the bulk of my audience are between the age of 35 and 50. And I would argue that is the perfect age to start making content online. All I'm saying is consider it. Consider building an asset in 2025 with little cost and little risk. And like me and most other people, have more than one investment. But online content could really be something for you. Because in your 30s, your 40s and your 50s, you have experience, maturity and personality that people want to listen to. The content itself is down to you and your interests. For me, I love personal finance, improve my life and finding happiness. I have an absolute passion for these things and hope I can help a few people in the process. So talk about what you're passionate about. And if you have no passions, talk about what you're good at. Maybe you can even just talk about your life experiences. People will watch, they'll find value and you'll build a community. Where it goes from there is down to you. But you can do it. The online market is only getting bigger. So why not? And if you feel you can't do it and it's beyond you, do me a favour. Go back to some of my earlier videos and have a watch. I am certainly no expert, and my videos are work in progress. But over the past 7 months, I have learned so much. I have grown, developed new skills, and learned to grow my asset. Watch a couple of videos from the start of the year, and you'll see it for yourself. Build an online business that solves problems or challenges for people. If you apply yourself, you can succeed, and you can develop it into an income as much as you want. I started this channel in January, and I've loved the journey and the growth. And you can start in January 2025. And if you want it, it could be the best investment you ever make. After all, the investment is in you, and what better place to start? And if you're really serious about growing wealth in 2025 and not too sure where to start, check out this video right here. I list all the things that I had to do to stop being a broke consumer and start living a happier and wealthier life. I'll see you there.